Hello, it's Steve Wirt, joined by my co-host,
Tim Hannon.
and we're gonna do a Pittsburgh sports current events episode. This is for the current events of, I don't know, February into late March. It's March 29th. And I feel like every episode of this so far we've had the same topic, Tim, over and over and over again. Although I didn't expect it with this name. I can't believe this is happening. Is it happening? Who knows? I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be a Steelers quarterback? And in my mind, in my opinion, it's not going to make a difference. He's like Mike Tomlin. He hasn't won a playoff game in like how long? He like he's lost every playoff game he's played in for like the last 10 years. And I don't even know what to say. If they get him, it's good. This is gonna be like being a fan of the team when Brown was on the team, or I don't know. He's not as bad as Brown. I mean, his political views don't bother me. It's just he just seems like very anti-team. But
Yeah, he's a head case. Let's just say that. It's not so
yeah,
much about what he believes or doesn't believe. It's just he's a head case. And
he's like a cancer in a locker room in a different way than Antonio Brown. If
right.
that's He's not like disruptive. He is disruptive, but in a weird sort of passive aggressive way. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, like you said, about what differences are going to make. They signed Mason Rudolph. I get why maybe they don't think he's a number one quarterback, but again, the plan at this point should be for 2026. You're going to have all these compensatory draft picks. That's what they're projecting. You have the opportunity to trade up. It's supposed to be a deep quarterback draft next year. Target your quarterback for next year and have a 1 year plan for this year. And I guess that's an argument. Both, I guess that could also be an argument for Rodgers, right? Well, if you
Yeah.
just need a 1 year plan, why not? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I guess you could go that way. I don't know. I'd rather root for Mason Rudolph just as a fan. And maybe he goes on a roll like Nick Foles at the end of the year. I mean, that's the only way I see the Steelers winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 to 10 years is like they catch like a quarterback that's like super hot at the end of the year and their defense is still good enough to hold teams. And like, I don't see them like being a dominant or even, they're not even a Super Bowl contender with or without Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like, what's his name? Ralph Kiner. We can lose in the playoffs in the first round with or without you.
Right.
And I don't know.
Yeah, and he's also 42 years old. I mean, it's one thing to get a guy that's like Russ last year, who's kind of at the tail end of his career. Rodgers is really old, but okay, I'm gonna just do like a bunch of devil's advocate stuff here because he did play really well in the second half of the year for the Jets last year. I think the other argument is you're gonna have to pay him something, 20, 30, whatever $1 million.
But it's only a singular cap hit, right? If you
Right,
just sign it
right.
on, yeah,
Right. And I've heard people say, well, you could use that money on other stuff. Well, what? I mean, free agency at this point is pretty much over. All the big names are gone. So what are you going to use the $30 million on? You know, uh, I don't know, Steve. I don't want Rodgers, but I'm kind of resigned to the fact that that's probably what's going to happen. And I'd rather
I don't
I'd
think it's. I don't. I still think this is 50-50. I think this could go either way.
I
I could see him just retiring,
Yeah,
or
that's true. That's
or
true. Could happen
like
too. Or like Minnesota swoops in last second or some other team.
he's a prima donna enough where he likes this too. He likes so
Well, the other thing he could do is wait. Just wait to see who gets hurt and then
yeah.
who wants him in week 4 or 5.
At what
Uh,
point did he turn into Jeff George? Jeez, it's like, goodness, not worth
I
the trouble.
I think with Rudolph, I think we all want to root for Mason Rudolph, number one. And I think number two, if if he plays well, like if you do have something there, like you had at the end of that 2023 season,
And he has
then
two pretty good wide receivers to throw to. I mean,
right. And
yeah,
if he plays well, then you don't have to go all in on a quarterback on a rookie in 2026. Or maybe you do go all in on a quarterback, but you can sort of bring him along more slowly. With
yeah,
Rodgers, you know for sure you're not going to have a quarterback next year, period.
yeah.
So
And I'm just getting tired of this. Like, it very much feels like the Redskins did this for years. Baltimore at the end of Bellick, Brian Billick's career did this. Like, this kind of feels like this might be the end of Mike Tomlin's career here. Like, because just very much desperation moves to me.
it all goes back to we talked about this in other some of our podcast episodes. It all goes back to they didn't have a succession plan for Ben,
Yeah.
and they made all these draft picks that were trying to eke out one last year out of Ben. At some point, you have to just say, okay, we have to rebuild. The Penguins did the exact same thing. Finally, this year, the Penguins have gotten to the point where they're like, okay, it's over, time to rebuild. The
And
Steelers need to get to that point too, and they don't have to stink. Again, Mason Rudolph would probably win 8 or 9 games. They wouldn't stink, but they're not. But you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're just not going to win a Super Bowl in 2025 with Aaron Rodgers or Mason Rudolph.
unless you get completely lucky, unless you capture lightning in a bottle, with like
Yes,
Nick
correct.
Foles, something or other.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, which
yeah,
could happen, but you're not going to beat Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. You're just not going to
yeah,
do that under normal circumstances. So if that's the ceiling, why not just stick with Rudolph? That's kind of where I'm at.
yeah. Well, you mentioned the Penguins. They suck. I saw a game where they gave up what was it, 5 goals in the second period to Buffalo, and I don't think Buffalo's even in the playoffs. And Lindy Ruff is coaching Buffalo. What is going on in the world, Tim? Like, he's back with Buffalo. What year is this? Is this 2025? Am I crazy here? I mean, so what do the Penguins do? They need a goaltender. They're in the same boat the Steelers are in. The most critical position on the ice or field they don't have. And when you don't have that, you're either mediocre to bad, and the Penguins have gone bad. I think Crosby still has some mileage in it. I think Malkin's probably done. Letang's probably getting there, if not done. And they have, I think I read 14 picks in
Right.
rounds 1 through 3 in the next 3 years. So you're not going to use all those picks. You couldn't possibly do that. So they have a lot of trade capital.
Exactly.
So they could trade up in the draft, or they could trade and get a free agent. I would go for goalie. They got to find a goaltender.
Well, they have Blomqvist. I remember he was a high draft pick, and he's still pretty young, right? I want to say he's maybe 22, 23. So I wouldn't give up on him yet. I would definitely give up on Jari. I mean, they tried to give up on Jari, and nobody would pull him off of waivers.
And then they have that other guy who's just like tall.
Yeah. So Blomqvist might turn out to be like goalies usually bloom late.
Yeah.
So Blomqvist being 20, 22,
They
23.
don't even, just somebody serviceable at this
Right.
point.
Right.
Somebody of NHL mediocrity, and they probably make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's. I'm just glad that they at least have a strategy, right? They like it. Yes, it's going to be rough, probably next year too, but at least they have a strategy, and we're moving forward. We're not just playing the 8-8 game, which is what the Steelers are kind of doing at this point. And I know that's not what the Steelers are trying to do, but that's what they're doing. Like at some point, you have to invest in the future, and like I said, that's what I think the Steelers are going to do with a quarterback next year, and I think that's what the Penguins are going to do with all those draft picks. So I think the future. I don't know if it'll work. I mean, it doesn't mean that that's automatically going to work, right? When the Steelers drafted Ben Roethlisberger, he could have ended up being, the next, Blaine Gabbert or whatever. So you never know if it's going to work, but I'm glad that the future has some hope to it.
Are they going to fire Mike Sullivan?
Uh, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think so. I think they would have done it by now.
He's a good coach, but it's just, well, I don't know. Then you got Lindy Ruff. Like I said, Lindy Ruff's been in Buffalo. This is his second stint after a 20-year. I think it was a 20-year stint his first time.
Yeah. I don't know. I seems like the Fenway people like Sullivan is what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but sometimes you just need, it seems in hockey especially, you just need to shake things up. But
yeah, it's we're in this odd era of Pittsburgh sports where we've got these very entrenched coaches, and on both of those teams, and it
Here
just
you go.
seems like neither of them are ever going to be fired. So I'm
Here-
less concerned. Like I said, I'm less concerned about Tomlin or Sullivan. I'm more concerned about the front office management of the pieces because I think we overrate how important the coaching is. If you don't get the right pieces in there, and if you're going to keep going from Kenny Pickett to Russell Wilson to Aaron Rodgers to whatever, you're just not going to win no matter who the coach is.
Well, speaking of firing coaches, Pitt basketball. Uh, they got to get rid of him, right? Capel's got to go. I mean, he totally collapsed, and it's just they're not making the tournament. They've made the tournament once since he's been there. I think I just saw the Twins are transferring. Everybody's transferring. He's had NBA players, and he still can't make the tournament. It's got to be time for Jeff Capel to go, right, Tim?
Yeah, probably. And I really like Jeff Capel. I was a big '90s Duke fan, so I've always been a fan of Jeff Capel. But yeah, I
They
don't
were
see how you can stick
projected
with
in
him.
January. They were projected to be a 6 seed in the tournament. How do you
Wow.
go from projected to being a 6 seed to not even making like one of those meaningless tournaments, like the NIT or CBA or whatever?
I,
I don't know
I
QB. I don't know.
I will say, Steve, it'll probably say a lot about this new athletic director to see what the move is here, because Heather Lyke, I think, ran the program much like the Rooneys run the
Yeah,
Steelers and like the FSGs running the Penguins, where it's like, well, stability matters more than anything, and so that's why Narduzzi's been there forever, and Capel's been there for quite a
I
while
don't.
now
I don't
too.
have a problem with Narduzzi. I think basketball is more like hockey, where you can change coaches and still have a lot of success in your program. I mean, although North Carolina and Duke had their long-term coaches too, but I nobody's going to confuse Jeff Capel with either of those guys. So
Unfortunately, not.
yeah. All right. Well, shifting to our last topic here, the old baseball season started 2 days ago, and the Buccos had a lead, and Skeens pitched 5.5 innings, had 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, left with a 3-run lead, and the Pirates go on to blow it. But the Pirates did win yesterday under Mitch Keller, 4-3. I think they lost this game 5-4 on a walk-off. I don't know. I guess people just go see Skeens whenever he's pitching.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying not to.
I think Jared Jones has gotten hurt now, hasn't he? He's
Right.
something with
Yeah.
Tommy John, maybe. So
Yeah, I mean the Pirates do have a window here. They do have a window with having Jones, Keller, and especially Skeens. I mean, that's a window where they could actually at least make it to the postseason, and they won't do anything with it because they're the Pirates. They won't invest any kind of effort or money into it, and then we'll just all be disappointed. Honestly, the only hope I have for the future of the Pirates is that the CBA is expiring in 2026, and will there be a push for a salary cap? And everybody's like, oh, that, yeah, every time that comes up, no, that'll never happen in baseball. But now with like all the like what happened these last couple off seasons with the Dodgers and the Mets and just it's like why even have a league of 30 something teams when there's only four that can compete with each other? I mean, you just might as well make it a different league. So in baseball, their ratings are down, the attendance is down. Like people,
ESPN let them go.
ESPN let them go because it's not a competitive league anymore. It's like watching the SEC play the MAC every week, right? I mean, what's the point? So maybe the owners will get smart and say, no, we've got to have competitive balance. And if that happens and there's a salary floor in addition to a salary cap,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
changes the entire landscape of the game, and it changes everything for the Pirates, and it changes everything for the prospect of being able to keep a guy like Paul Skeens.
Or at
If that
least
doesn't,
having to spend money to get.
yes,
And I still don't understand why any like run of the mill player would be against the salary cap. Like I can see why what's his name, and what they did, the Dodgers and Otani, he's only getting paid $2 million a year because they backloaded all his pay. How is that even legal? Like, so they could get around the luxury tax. They're not even paying the luxury tax.
Yeah.
So this is stupid. It's like baseball. It's like the Premier League in a lot of ways, where there's only like 2 or 3 teams that have enough money to really compete on a level. And they tried to make a super league over there, and everybody kind of freaked out. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see baseball changing, and I don't know how baseball stays. Like, do you have the regional sports network, Fox Sports? You don't have it, right?
Nope.
I don't have it. I don't know anybody who does. So that was baseball's big way of making money. That was their money maker, that and attendance. And attendance just doesn't get it done anymore, not in this market. So they're in trouble that way. Like, something's got to be done about these regional TV networks. That's gonna really force the issue in baseball, and that might bring about a salary cap or something, because they have to figure out a different way to negotiate their TV contracts.
Yeah, again, and then if you tie it all back to the Pirates, that's literally the only hope. If that doesn't happen, then to me, it's not worth investing any of my time or heart into, because I'm just going to get this. I'm going to watch this guy that Skeens. That's he's Sidney Crosby, he's Ben Roethlisberger. He's the once in a generation talent.
And they're not going to be able to keep him. Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to keep him, and they're going to waste the time that he does have here. So why would I put my heart and soul into any of that, knowing that it's just going to turn out poorly? So, but if baseball can fix itself, that's a whole different conversation.
Well, it took a whole year for hockey to figure it out.
Yeah,
so we'll see. Well, thanks for tuning into our current sports, and you can put your whole heart and soul into me and Tim. We'll never sell you down the river. But check us out on Facebook, comment on our pages. If there's anything controversial, if you're just a big Aaron Rodgers fan and don't like vaccinations. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Check us out on all the social media stuff, and we'll catch you next time.